Don't you be afraid.
What's going on, everybody? This your boy Jamilio7 with Sinister 7 Gaming. Today I wanted to go over my Gamma Hawk build. Basically, this is a tank build that can do good damage, but I specialize. I love tanking. I love dropping dots. I love being able to stay in the fight. So I went with a more of a tankish style build, but it does do good damage as well. So let's get into it. First off, I'm using the Faultless and Vulnerability nanites. I have Resilience on it, Valor, and Intensity. Intensity is a slept-on stat. A very, very, very slept-on stat. The perks is Faultless and Vulnerability, 10.9% chance melee critical hits granting invulnerability for 7 seconds. We have Plasma Ignition. Heavy power attacks trigger a burst of plasma damage, and for guys who don't know what plasma damage does, plasma damage basically builds up, but then it creates a dot, and then the dot spreads to all the enemies around you. Then you have Rage Recuperation, minus 15% damage reduction when Rage is active. Since you're pretty much going to be using your Rage most of the time, you can kind of look at that as you have a damage mitigation all the time, 15%. So that's pretty big. Then we go to the Proficient Buff Enhancer, and this is my range slot. Also has Resilience on it, Might, and Resolve. I really don't care for the range slot too much because I only really use rocks to break turrets and things of that nature. I'm not doing any kind of range build with Hulk, so I guess that probably would be cool though. But the only ability I'm worried about is that third slot, 10% chance, critical hit chance on the heavy combo finisher. Since most of the time you're gonna be dropping those triangle combos, that 10% crit chance is going to be big because it ties back into the Faultless and Vulnerability, and that helps you hit more targets because it's a cleave, and it also gives you that 7 seconds of invulnerability. In the defense slot, the chest slot, we use the reactive protection component, and it has a pretty good role. Reactive protection, 25.5 chance taking damage, give the defensive buff, big. And then you have courageous protection. Whenever you're critically injured, you have a 55% chance to get another defensive buff. So when you're going against something that's like those adaptoids on challenge 4, this comes in handy on top of the 15% that you're already mitigating from rage recuperation, and whenever you're in vulnerability procs. So you pretty much are a walking wall. And then for the heroic slot, we're using the Planet Cracker Neuronics. That has might and proficiency on it. Might because you still want to do good damage, and proficiency because you're trying to get your crit, because you want to help proc that invincibility. This one has aggressive might, increase the damage dealt to taunted enemies by 15%. And I'm going to get into that a little bit because that ties into your skills. Then you have heroic assistance, and basically this gives you 18% heroic support ability charge. Also something I'm going to talk more about in the skills. But let's move over to the minor artifacts. Minor artifact I'm using is a triple might. Also has the iconic heroic assault ability 16.8. So that's helping your assault ability come back faster. And then you have the you have an orange ISO with triple resolve, so it's giving you more health, and it also has heroic assault ability plus 16. The Tactagon exotic major artifact, I get a lot of good use out of this for the simple fact that it gives me 11.2 increased damage on enemies affected by abilities. This ties into what I do with my skills. And also it increases the status damage from all attacks. Also ties into what I do with my skills. If we look at my heroic stats, my melee damage is at 1402, my range damage is at 628, crit and peak chances both at 12. My heroic effectiveness is 874. My crit damage is 173. My max willpower is at 17,110. My willpower recovery effectiveness is 175%. My armor is 23.3. My stun and status meter is 54.4. That's big. Also, my assault heroic rate is 33.5, and my support heroic rating is 21.4. But I'm gonna get into how it's actually higher than that once we go over the skills. So going over the skills, my Bone Shaker modifiers that I'm using is the Rampaging Bone Shaker. Defeat 5 enemies while Bone Shaker is active and extended by a duration of 5 seconds. That's big because you find yourself, it actually stacks. You find yourself killing, like if you're in a wave, you can kill 5, 10, even 15 mobs at a time, and you'll get it's basically a second per kill. So that's big. My other Bone Shaker modifier is attacks from taunting enemies have reduced impact. Then my Stranglehold modifiers are irradiated destruction. On the final slam, the impact causes a massive radial hazard of irradiated gamma particles. As long as the enemy is inside the hazardous area, they will take small amounts of additional damage as well as gamma damage. That's huge, counting that it ties into my gamma damage, plus it ties into they're taunted. They're taunted. They're gonna lose 15% more damage per tick while they're inside that area than the 11% or 22% that you're also losing from the Tactagon. So, but we're not done yet. Barbaric Charge. Stranglehold taunts nearby enemies and instantly overcharges your intrinsic rage. So you get a full bar rage, you heal, it's an instant heal, and it taunts everything, which makes everything around you take 15% more damage from the skill that we talked about on my armor. Now let's talk about the Thunderclap. The modifier I have on my Thunderclap is, I know a lot of people looked at Lejeune's video and was using Fault Line. I don't. I actually use Ground Zero. Thunderclap creates a vacuum that draws nearby enemies before launching them upwards. The attack creates a gamma radiation zone that inflicts gamma damage to affected enemies, but regenerates 2% willpower every second for teammates within the circle. That works for everybody that's there, including yourself. So 2% of your willpower. If you are, for me, I'm trying to get to 20,000, but at 17,000, that's a big chunk of health, and I could just tank, because raids are coming. You're gonna be able to need to stand in front of big bosses and not die to give your teammates a chance. So that's big. Also, it's ticking for damage. You're doing gamma damage to everything inside that circle, and they're coming because they're taunted on you. So that's another thing you got to think about. That also ties into being taunted. That also ties into Tactagon. That also ties into the 15% that they're losing. So that's big. And then we have the Thunderclamp taunted all enemies. Moving on to Mastery. Alright, so for my grab specialization, I'm using Vice Grip. Nothing special there. My grab specialization 2, I'm using increased damage from hell enemy. Nothing special there. For my takedown specialization, I'm using Heroic Takedown Mastery, and that's basically giving you orbs. You get an orb every time you perform a takedown, which is why I run Intensity, because you have a higher stun rate, and with a higher stun rate, you're able to get more takedowns. Get more takedowns, you get more orbs. Projectile specialization, I use Wrecking Ball. For damage specialization, I use range damage, and basically increases all range damage by 15% when you do throw your boulder. Efficiency specialization, and basically this one stops your the big rock from breaking, and so you can use it as a weapon, which is cool. Alright, so your intrinsic abilities. Defense specialization, I use Rage and Heroics, and basically that's why I said my Heroics come back faster than what you saw in the numbers, is because most of the time you're gonna be in Rage mode, so it gives you an additional 15% on all your rages. All your Heroics to come back faster, so that's 15% while you're in Rage mode. Your damage specialization for your intrinsic rage, I use increased 15% damage while I'm in rage. So everything does 15% more damage. I used to use enhanced combo finisher, but I just felt like that 15% is a whole lot more. Then we have control rage, reduce the initial cost of rage, because most of the time you're not going to be holding the button. So minus 15% when used is a whole lot bigger than getting a larger pool of 15%, whereas it kind of doesn't even out. As far as your overcharge, and that, for those who don't know what overcharge is the little piece of bar at the end. I use the defense boost, so when I'm overcharged, I get 15% more defensive strength, which is big for my build. Stun boost, because I'm trying to stun them as fast as I can, so I can get takedowns, so I can get more orbs, so I can get my bone shaker back. I use the stun boost. And for that final mod, increase the amount of overcharge intrinsic rage meter every time for all attacks. So everything I do, I get 20% more overcharge. I get a chance to get into my overcharge. But without further ado, go ahead and check out more of the gameplay. I love this build. This build has been great so far. Look for updated versions of it coming soon. But again, it's your boy Jamelio7 with Sinister 7 Gaming. Peace.
Hey yo, DJ, put a nigga back to the record, baby, and give me this right now.